Well, it's nice to be given to you by Robin anyway. This is called The Devil You Don't. It's in many sections, but I'm not going to really pause between them. Sometimes the devil talks, but I'm not going to do little devil quotes. You'll just figure it out maybe. Right. The Devil You Don't. He started out as just a wayward scrap of light and now consumes whatever he chooses, cutting a stolen strain of lyrical ease with his own. His heart rolls into the palm of his hand and waits there like a blister in a tree. The faint, alluring radiance that twitches over the black sea floor, held up by a fish made of teeth and to which are drawn smaller things, this is how he tries to love. Were he to put flesh on you, it would be flame. Were he to pick you up, then drop you, all through the burning sky would you fall, and burning still you would rip a hole in the sea, the boiling sea. He turns angels into the same fire that melts the guts of the earth, or spews unbearably out of stars, then makes of their wings endless chains from which to swing. When the planet's fontanelle yields to his fingerings, he rides, covers his ears against a rumor he cannot bear. His aliases crackle over the airport speakers, but they are nowhere, and they are never going home. Not for a moment does he wish for us to give up our gods. Renounce, he says, and shrugs, renounce, and still you die, and nothing else. But no one is listening. The poor have stopped, the rest likely never began. Here's the best way to see a thing. Catch the edge of light that burns around its opposite, that which it would otherwise obscure. If we could view this light entire, we would call it God. But then, if we saw collected in one place all the ants, or all the abandoned cars, or all the dust in the world, we would surely make that thing God instead. I am going to pull all the music from your mouth, and furthermore, I'll take the orange aching light that splits your ribs when I or any beautiful things come at you. He rolls by on a skateboard, trailing snakes of smoke. Helicopters rear and waver all around him, gusting down the avenue toward the fissured monuments, kicking up a blast of helices that settle like pollen in a glittering layer over everyone. He adores the show, the high tech of it, the low, but don't broach evil, don't bore him so. Clearly this is no St. Paddy's Day parade, and he's neither headed off to some seminar nor giving you the eye. He's going to stick to the roof of someone's mouth, American palate, quintessential mistrust. He writes fortunes in clear lip gloss on a funhouse mirror as the oracles take down their tents and their oracular fountains bubble in the rimy night. One finger in, now say what you want more than anything else. From serrated streaks of fire, he fashions a subcutaneous matrix, sightlines to further green vistas. The tributes of the origamists don't last long, but the sound of burning swans blown down a path to the river makes music enough for him. Kids roll hash into their cigarettes, and spotlights turn the smoke pink in the trees. If he'd had a childhood, he'd have spent it running under sprinklers to cool his smoldering skin. He made other arrangements, and found no need for cruelty in his hell as metaphor, wherein he was more often tempted than the tempter, watching evolution, each new thing. Now admirers call him up to say they'd seen him on TV and are preparing another way. Such is the devotion he endures, as everywhere a boiling dew saturates the buildings till they fall. Oppenheim's cup and the smell of static arouse him. What other distortions has he surmounted? Within what circles of pleasure has he flexed? The powers that bore have flown in from the east, a locust wave blotting out the scenery. Their bodies pile up in black drifts through which he later slaloms. Plastic flowers warp in the crematorium, smother the undertaker with their fumes. As he rearranges body parts, the sex grows gigantic, the messiest yet. Take him by the tail and see better at night. Swiveling armatures, nothing's your misdeed. Randy boy and roguish, looking for a light. Watch the wind turn to whips that tangle in the stars, his gift to you. He strides through a field of rubies as comets trail from his horns, hooked. Astronauts mistake the streaks for a runway somewhere safe. This is the version they invent when we pull them from the trees and send them home. Did the president just say, "I readjust my horned suit," causing our screens to flush and flicker blood? On American highways, cars hydroplane through the acid foam that slides from Blazing Angel's flanks. When the press corps cranes its collective neck to get a better view, the devil turns water in the glass under the lectern to steam, then absconds with his toy piano under one arm and a seashell pressed to his glowing mouth, leaving the president who is not the president trapped in a red room. You can pretend I live in a burning box underground, that you'd know me if you saw me, but I don't, and you never do. His smile is an electric fence, spitting an amazement of scarlet flowers into the night. Hell also has a sky, the world being devoured by the sun. Abominable fancy, slide us across the burning lawns. That which doesn't kill us is merely waiting. It will. Flattery will get you started, boy. Hell is coming. Hell is here. Right, a couple from the book. This is called No Nets. Distorted self in thunder and the sound stalks off. So too Ithily, the cumuli. The notorious run all over this island in their paper dresses painted purple, and Stanley Kubrick, it snowed on the desert the day he was born. Whilst ferrying the brass band, during a long stroll in the garden, after the silk screens were forced, his murder was a mystery full of twists written on a dressing room wall. No more hand jobs on the house. One has only reverb now. This is Arrival with Dark Circles and Premonition. Trump Loy under the bridge trumps the meth head on the bus who's dragged himself from southern climes to find the earth's curve barely registers here. Say he wanted something and it was refinement, or a city on a map through which he could burn a hole, or a garland of houses woven through a field. Doctors once held him upside down to get the poison out. A man with blue toenails assured him a city is just an idea. Say his name is Jared or Zach, bumper sticker vandal, t-shirt philosopher, tracking a god that's nothing more than sleep with schnapps and dregs of opium scraped from foil. When he wakes up in a park at dawn where armored cars sail the sky, say all the statues have moved, have turned to look at him. And I think there's a statue of Gertrude Stein just yonder somewhere, isn't there? Yeah. Love that. I don't know who she is. Generic war poem, you can dust it off every few years as needed, if not to speak against. All paintings are of trees, or should be. From the Urdu word for dust comes the color of the uniform. All songs are about love. We position so others cannot see, then lie and call it contact. We measure the length of the shore and say, don't look at the water. An army moves across a desert in olive drab through clouds of dust. What's topical becomes generic. For instance, bombs that look like food fall from the sky and land near people living on dust. Anyone in the painting, hiding behind a tree, is presumed to be a lover. Attire is protection, idiom, antagonism. All photographs depict the black fins of whales as they go under. No one can be counted on to water the office trees. Submitting to systems is autonomy, as long as systems vary, as long as what's generic is topical. And then a few more. This is Give Us the Dark That Keeps the Darkness Out. We finally get the terrain. It's fever greens and where have you been all my life browns. Also cars, bridges, likewise decked out. Admit we bow to a number of things, among them October, distance to ice caps, radii of moons. Neglect arrows through, but certain zeros will not rake us in. Obliterate as you bloviate, boss man, on your occidental rug. What spectacular thing could you make out of all you've thrown away? Then what would you devise to make it explode? The proper suits a posture, the wrong not yours, but occupy some semblance of a self. Catapult the propaganda, dip it in disease, and hurl it at the fourth estate. Give back the hook stuck in skin, the lake-like cold. Follow prongs of fire across denuded plains until we ghost and summer underground. When they are dying, they don't know what to do. We pulled 1,000 turtles out of the pond, the verboten, the swollen puddle of emerald gravy. Oh, hello, noblesse oblige, come to watch us work. Goodbye, the neighbor who gave us sticky paper porn. The canvas tents we pitched had basement stains, and there was nothing else to move us, so I made you a new verb, one they won't hear here. Freight trains dragged a tar smell through another summer, inside of which I lost my will to sleep and ventured out to satirize the stars. Guilt seems not contemporary in the way regret at its best remains. You've seen most of what you shouldn't have. Now it's safe to kill its context. Sketching is stealing and kicking is how we show our love. Bring us a souvenir from the next war. In Antwerp this afternoon, the Museum of Anesthesia, the reason one goes to Antwerp, is closed. A way to translate nowhere into nothing, and the inhalation thereof becomes a boon, a freak rush around the sun. The diagnosis is cracked emphasis, but the prognosis is a coming together, niceness, and considerable kissing in the neighborhoods. We still can't know anyone, but we have a way of not minding not knowing, and you must be glad the numbness rising in your legs isn't reading on your face. Europe looks huge, but we've done bigger. Each day, people in restaurants order the wrong things. On the wooden door, you see a small gold sign. Ending in an abandoned month. Of the citizenry, but not exemplary, another false copy of me returns to cheap structures that poke into the clouds. Nauseous, we watch a 2-foot tornado stagger black up our street, hear the sick smash of windows hit by giant hailstones. Every time the world ends this way, I want to thank whoever had a choice. Perhaps we should have seen it coming. White kids giving mad props to zombies, Jersey studs with waxed eyebrows and brilliant buffed nails. Should I specify that here I am with you, the air a shade somewhere left of flesh and right of slate, smeared over our Manhattan as the snow comes to blunt everything tonight? Certainly there are too many species of weather, which is why they're being replaced by color-coded models of pure dread. When it's finally over, years from now, when the storm ends, let whoever digs us out find this headline: shooting victim apologizes to vice president, so they can get a sense of how we did it when we died. If you were listening, thanks for listening. Thanks to the various Academy lovely people for inviting us tonight. And this is the last one. It's called And Furthermore. The Bumblebee's headline, wind-jerked, blunt. More boredom under honeysuckle. Twilight was designed for us to happen within it, so move me with your motoric, your jugular mean. Lone river martin in a tree, or thousands churning a black borealis over the water. Choose one or choose both. We come to believe we behaved appropriately, but what do we know? We're only envelopes indicating the very things we were meant to obscure. In the Tiergarten, I met you at the appointed bridge, yet the stream was narrow enough to step across. A tattered moth followed us around for hours, so we named it Got Creamed, then changed it to Blood Escaping My Hands. Cheers, thanks.